Hey guys, so the Halloween season is officially here and we have the first horror movie of the season, Smile. Okay, so this is sort of like Truth or Dare. That movie with Lucy Hale with the haunted smiles that was really, really bad. And it's sort of like It Follows, which was actually really, really good. And this is somewhere in between the two. It's not awful, it's not as bad as I went into it thinking it would be based on the trailer, but it's definitely one that you could see at home if you have absolutely nothing else to watch. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch this, but I wasn't actually bored during the movie either, so, do what you want with that. Anyway, so there's a few jump scares in it that really, really annoyed me, that was so over the top, obnoxious and cheap, and just those types that really grate on your nerves. I'm okay with a well done jump scare, but these were not well done. They just annoyed me. I had like a hot chocolate in my lap and one of them was so obnoxious I just went and jumped and it went flying everywhere. So anyway, and I don't scare too easily, so maybe, I don't know. I don't think I scare too easily. I think I've been so desensitized by horror movies over the years, but anyway, I just feel like this movie just went way too over the top with the jump scares, and it didn't really feel like it had any genuinely creepy, tense moments. There were a few, but really not many. And there were actually people in my cinema laughing at some of the moments that were meant to be scary. Like, there's this moment towards the end where the demon, it takes the shape of her mother who had died. Spoiler alert, the main lead protagonist let her mother die because she was a bad mother. Anyway, so she's haunted with guilt over this. So the demon takes the form of her mother and sort of does this thing where it blows up into this huge person, and it reminded me of that scene of It Chapter 2, I think, or Chapter 1. Anyway, it just came off as really funny, not scary, and basically everyone in the cinema was laughing, which is not the tone I think that the director was going for. Anyway, I'm just so sick of animal deaths in horror. It feels like they do this in so many horror movies, and okay, with like, say, The Conjuring, it was sort of done in a way you could get that it added to the plot. It drove the plot forward because we can see the dog did not want to go into the house, and you're thinking, okay, well, animals have that sort of extra sense, so we can see that maybe there was something wrong with the house because of the animal's behavior. But with this movie, the cat's death really didn't add anything to the movie, and the way it was done, just gratuitous death for the sake of it, for the sake of shock value. We see this little kid unpacking a present and the cat is inside the present and it's dead, and it just felt sad. It didn't feel scary. Like, why even add that? We don't need to see that as the audience. The only movie I can honestly say off the top of my head where I felt like an animal death really added to the plot was John Wick. That's the only one. But humans, I don't care. Kill all of them. I'm just joking, but seriously, like, I just feel like animal deaths in movies are just so overdone. So tonally, this felt very sort of imbalanced, like it takes itself too seriously on one hand. For a movie about haunted smiles, it sort of feels like they should have just lent into that campy nature and made it more of a comedy horror movie. I don't know, it just didn't really feel like a movie that should have been taken so seriously. The acting was decent. I felt like it was fine. It wasn't amazing. It was mainly just the directing and the script that needed a lot of work. And there was a lot of cliches, and I have no problem with a cliche in horror movies if it's done well, because at this point it's really hard to have a completely original horror movie with no cliches. So I would say there's this scene where the woman opens up to her partner and he doesn't believe her, which is such a cliche. Sorry, something just popped up on my screen and scared me. Oh, well, I'm talking about a scary movie. Why not get scared? Anyway, so the whole disbelieving husband partner cliche has been done to death. And then there was this scene where we find out about a man in prison who had somehow escaped the curse. So the protagonist goes and visits him in prison, and I swear I've seen that in so many other movies. Anyway, so there's no exposition on the demon. There's no backstory on the demon, on where it came from, its origin story, why it exists. It's just doing these things. And it's like, okay, give me more than that. I want to know more. So basically it passes on through somebody being witness to a traumatic murder, and then you can either die in a few days' time or murder somebody else. So basically the main character tries to escape the curse and ends up dying anyway. And then she infects the cop friend who's trying to help her, and that's where the movie ends. So honestly, if you want to see a movie about a curse, see The Ring, see The Grudge. It's been done before and so much better. See It Follows. And let me know down below a good movie that you know that sort of follows along those lines of a curse, because I like those type of movies when they're done well. So I don't want to sound too harsh. This movie isn't awful. It's definitely not one of the worst movies of the year, but I still wouldn't really recommend that you spend money on it. So if you want to see more from me, please consider subscribing or just giving this video a like or commenting. It really helps to boost my videos. Thanks, guys.